Hey, good morning, everybody. Sonny Smith, aka Seagull Cyclist. This is Maria Miller. A
Good
phenomenal,
morning.
a phenomenal story. She will give us a lot of the history and so forth, and she has a condition that would typically probably inhibit a lot of activity. But I've known Maria, I don't know, probably like 7 years or something. We used to ride on the same cycling team. And I was always impressed with how fast she could ride and never knew that she had fibromyalgia. So, Maria, tell us, a little bit about, first of all, where you're from, and then tell us a little bit about the history of, when did you first discover fibromyalgia, or how did that come about? So,
Thank you. Good morning, Sonny. Thank you for having me. Just such a pleasure to be here. Um, I'm from Costa Rica. I was born in Costa Rica and lived there my entire life until my husband brought me here.
nice.
So, yes, two sisters, two younger sisters. My dad lives there. My mom passed away right before we moved here in
Oh, sorry.
2011. And yeah, everybody is down there
Okay.
in beautiful little Costa Rica.
That's awesome. I hear a lot of good things about Costa Rica. I haven't been there yet, but yeah, a friend of mine surfs, and I think there's some good surfing down there
Great
or something.
surfing.
Yeah,
A lot of Americans and friends of mine that I know go to Costa Rica because of the surfing.
nice.
They love it.
When did the discovery of fibromyalgia? How did that come about?
Um, Fibromyalgia.
What is it? And then like, how did you start to say, hey, there's something going on with my body?
About, I would say, 6 years ago, I just experienced a lot of tightness in my legs mainly, and my husband thought I was overtraining because I was training a lot.
Yeah,
But he's like, I think you're overtraining. I think you just have to give your body a little bit more of a break. And I didn't understand. I was used to the volume, um, and especially during my rest days or my easier days, the pain will come and stay for longer periods of time. So I bought massagers and creams and everything you can think of just
yeah,
to, rollers and stuff just to help me cope with the pain because I don't like medication. That's one thing I
right.
set my mind so many years ago not to take medications unless I really, really, really needed them.
Good for you.
Especially because growing up, my mom had so many problems between depression, anxiety, diabetes, high blood pressure, and I saw my mom taking so many pills per day
Right.
and the effect of these pills on her health
Yeah.
and being pretty much absent for us growing up. So I was something that scared me
Yeah.
and I didn't want that for my life. So, um, fibromyalgia is a condition. They don't. It's not really labeled as um, it's more like an autoimmune system
Right.
problem, and there's no treatment. It's like a specific treatment for fibromyalgia. It's overactive nerves in your body and it
Wow.
tightens your muscles to the point that it just it's so painful and your body is very stiff. No matter how many times you stretch,
Yeah.
it's just like that stiffness in your.
Do
And
you feel like is there like a throbbing pain, or like on a,
I
on a
always, it's funny, I always describe the pain as a burning pain.
that's amazing.
I don't know. I don't know how many times
A
have people
burning
ask me.
pain.
It's like a burning pain. It's like electricity inside you, inside your body, at the same time burns, and it's just like
So it
you
shoots
know.
down like it does it
Yes,
start
yes.
start in the center and
Yep.
then make its way to your fingertips and extremities?
The main areas for me were my hips and my legs. Main areas, and I don't know if you remember that bike crash that I had a few years ago, about
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2015.
Yeah, yeah.
um, really made things worse for me. I
Huh.
kind of, and
Yeah.
around that time is when I went and looked for answers. I thought was injury crash related
Right, right.
problem, but looking back a couple of years before, it's kind of progressively got worse,
Right.
and it really got the worst by the time of the accident. So I
Huh.
thought it was accident related.
Yeah.
But and a lot of foods, make you give you extra pain or ache. Like I discovered caffeine. It's one of the
Yeah. Triggers or whatever.
triggers.
Mhm.
Triggers definitely. And listen, I went and looked for answers. So many doctors. It was just like crazy. And the only answer they give you is 3 or 4 different pamphlets with information, and they will.
Really?
I mean, they will say, call us and see which one you pick, which one you decide to take.
We're so used to having medicines, handed across in a pamphlet of a prescription from a doctor, and so
It's the
yeah.
norm.
But for you, it's really
It wasn't an option.
yeah. Monitor your diet. Probably I think you've mentioned before that activity really
Definitely.
impacts you.
Definitely.
So
Listen, those medications or those pills that they want you to take, if you read the side effects, who wants
Right.
to be suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, weight gain, doo. I mean, and
my
the
kids
list
and I sit down and we'll watch those, and we're just like we'll all laugh.
and
like,
the list goes on. I remember sitting on a parking lot after seeing a few doctors and really just destroying the pamphlets, and I'm like, this is no the answer I was looking for. I even went to the other side of the bridge to see if you get something different, but no, I mean,
yeah.
it's
Same
the
thing.
same. It's
Same
the
thing.
same. So
So it's autoimmune. We really don't know where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that manifests itself through our bodies. And so here's Maria Miller, who I think is probably, I mean, as far as the running community and the cycling community, one of the strongest female athletes I think I've ever met. And that's not to offend anybody else, because I'm just saying, like, I know her and I've seen her cycle, keeping up with some of the fastest people out here on the Eastern Shore. Her running, I've seen her post on Facebook, and I think she's done the Algonquin or something like. She needs to tell us about this Algonquin thing. It's like a 50K or
50K race
Yeah,
in February.
so. She pushes through. So of course, my channel is about pushing limits and so forth. So for her, I mean, it's just a great example. So tell us, if you want to talk about the Algonquin 50K, what is one of the most memorable events that you've done? Is it the 50K? Is it a running event? What is it?
Well, it's funny because when I moved here, my longest run ever was a 10K. Okay,
Yeah.
I would just go to the gym. I will practice some golf and just weights and weight training pretty much. And I would go for a 5K, 6K run. We use kilometers in my country.
Right.
So I moved here and I started looking into different things to do. And since it was super flat, I'm like, well, maybe a road bike will be a good idea.
Right.
I used to run mountains, so I mean, I know for a long period of time in
Yeah, we
Costa
don't have
Rica, I
those.
was like
We
5K.
don't have
I
those
know.
over here.
So flat, my husband's like, wow, you need to find something to do. I'm like, no, I know. I'm like, probably will be boring to just run in flat. So I bought my first road bike, and I remember seeing the Tim Kennard
Yeah.
10 miler. I'm like, 10 miles? Who in the right mind wants to run a 10 miler?
Right.
We're talking about 16 kilometers.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, oh my goodness. that was just like crazy idea for
so
me.
you had already predetermined, as we all do. We set up a kind of a limit, and we're like, oh man, I could never do that.
Exactly.
However, you did.
I am I love single sports. I played basketball for about 17 years.
Wow.
So I know what it is to be part of a team and what it is to be not the best in the team, but to earn the position in the team.
Right.
You know, I worked really hard for it. And that wasn't a problem, but the idea of running and running and running and running to me was like, wow, that is amazing, a 10 miler. So I remember reaching up to few local people in town. I'm gonna say a name. I remember Steve and his daughter Macy, and they both helped me train for Team Kenner, which
Nice.
everybody in my family thought was crazy. And I remember just having a great time, and then looking into going half marathon. I was like, wow, my first half was Ocean City half, which I fell in love with that course. And my little one, Amber, said to me one day, I had a belt with 3 bottles of water for the half marathon. It was like a big deal. Everybody
you were
went.
loaded, ready.
Oh, I was loaded,
Yeah.
ready. And I remember that was the first half marathon, Ocean City half. It was the year before they changed the course. Now it starts in Acetic and ends in the boardwalk. That time it started in boardwalk and ended in Acetic with the bridge. You know, I see the bridge coming. I was like, what? At the end of the race?
Right.
This is crazy.
Yeah, that's the mountain on the Eastern Shore.
That's the mountain
Yeah.
Eastern Shore.
Yeah.
I used to go there to do hill repeats.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And she sees me, and I finish line, and she's like, Mom, you don't realize how many old people pass you, finish before you. She said to me when at the end, I'm like, honey, I did my best. She's like, Mom, can you please come next
Wow.
year? She
Some
said
pressure.
to me, oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's very competitive. She's like, can you please come back next year and win the race?
That is hysterical.
That is hysterical. And I said to her, honey, you have no idea what you're asking me for.
Oh my
It takes
God.
more than you think to win this race, I said to her.
Right.
And oh my God. So
And that was the half marathon.
that was a half marathon,
Yeah.
Ocean City half. That child, I'm telling you, have pushed me to my limits, beyond my limits.
So it's not just it's not just an inner push of limits. It's from our children too.
It's funny, and she doesn't really love running. She has done a few running events.
Yeah, you gotta drag her out there.
But she's like, come on, Mom, you have to win this race. Anyways, that's how I started. And
So after the 13 miler, the half marathon.
my goal, my goal was to improve my time. I didn't jump into the full marathon distance
Yeah.
because I'm like, okay, I need to go back to Team Kenner, improve my time,
Right.
improve my half. So I look for more distances like that around here, and that was my goal. I'm like, I'm not jumping into
So
the
you
marathon.
stayed in that zone.
I stay in that zone
Yeah.
until I reach the goal of what it was in my mind, a good pace time, a good overall time.
Right.
Okay, and then I jump into the full. But
This is Mittens, by the way. So
hey,
Hi, Mittens.
hey, Mittens. He wants to be in the
Yeah.
camera too. You're allowed to be in the
Camera
interview.
shy.
Camera
Not.
shy. So it's funny because last year I won Ocean City half.
That's amazing.
I won Ocean City half. I told my
So wait,
coach.
so the half, what
It
year?
took me a few years.
Yeah, what was the, well, how long did it take? So what was it?
7 years.
7 years. That's really good. So congratulations.
7
That's-
years.
Yeah.
I every year I went back and I improved my time. I
Yeah.
improved my time. And I remember we plan races between December and January. So I make my calendar for the year with Coach Kevin.
Nice.
And I said to him, I want to win Ocean City this year. I think I'm ready for it.
Nice.
And he said to me, "That's a great goal. I like it.
Yeah, goals. Yeah.
Let's do it."
Good.
But it's funny because a lot of people said this to me. Oh, you can't be fast at everything, or you can't be good at 5K and be good at a half and be good at a full. And you know something? You can. It just
Yeah.
requires a lot of extra work, and you have to like the pain.
Yeah, you got to be able to suffer.
You
And
have- I
it-
mean,
it is about
You
suffering.
have to have some tolerance to pain to
And
be
you
able
take it
to
to
do
the
that.
next level because of the fibromyalgia and then the regular suffering of physical event. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's interesting, you know, and I have started races that I have so much pain, and I love my coach. He's just so awesome and so understandable, and so he knows I'm ready. He knows I have hit every single pace during the training block and stuff like that. And sometimes I just freak out. I have so much pain the night before that I am like, I text him. I'm like, he's my counselor, my
Yeah.
psychiatrist.
Well, yeah,
he's my
because
everything.
that pain, like, it's not just
No.
physical.
I pretty much
You start talking yourself out of the event.
Yes.
You're like, no, I can't do this. I'm not right. I'm not ready.
Yes. He reminds me of the importance of just being present and just doing your best.
Yeah.
You know, you just
Good.
that's all you can do when the
Yes.
race comes. I mean, yes, I prepare. Yes, all my times. Yes, all my 800s were perfect. But that day, for some reason, the night before, I have felt like, oh my gosh, how a 6:30 pace for tomorrow?
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Right.
I'm in so much pain that I just don't want to even move. You know?
Right.
And I'm like texting him, tomorrow's pace, I don't think it's gonna happen, but you know, I'm gonna do my best. I'm in such
Yeah.
a pain. I don't know what to do. If I'm away from home, I know I brought all my remedies or my anti-inflammatory foods that I eat
Yeah.
before a race, and nothing else I can do because I am not willing to put a pill on my body.
Good.
That's one thing. Ibuprofen, none of that is on the table for
Yeah.
me. It's like I'd rather to go and do a minute mile than to take something.
Good for
it's,
you.
it's not something I done, thankfully. So Kevin is like, you know, go out and do your best. You know,
Right.
so and always works.
So, all right. So congratulations on the
Always
13
works.
mile, 13.1 win. And then when did it start saying, okay, I'm going to progress. I am going to go tackle these longer distances. When did that happen? And then what was your first attempt at the longer distance?
It was crazy. Melissa, yes. Trail running scared me. One of the things, I mean, you twist your ankle,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah.
you're out from running, from cycling for a long time.
Yeah.
So that really was something that held me back to do trail races, and even Pemberton Trail. You
All
know,
the
there's
routes,
so
yeah.
many routes
Yeah.
there. And I remember Melissa Wilson coming to me, I think it was 2016, and she said to me early in the year, like February or something, she said, Maria, let's do this race together. I'm like, what race? It's a race that I'm doing in West Virginia. I'm signed up for it. And I'm like, sure. What kind of race is
Right.
it? She's like, it's a trail race, a 50 miler.
What?
I'm like, 50 miler? I'm like, that sounds like painful. Trail? She's like, yes, it's called MMTR, Mount Masochist Trail Run.
50 miler
50 miler.
trails.
Yeah.
And I'm sure West Virginia brings some hills.
You have no idea that course. Oh, and I say yes. I'm like, sure. So I'm texting Kevin,
Love
and
it.
I said to Kevin,
Love it.
we are training for the 50 miler in November in West Virginia. 50 miler.
What did he
and
say?
I sent him the link, and he sees the elevation chart. Okay, it's like
Yeah.
like
Right.
this, and he said, sure. I'm like, I already compromised. I'm gonna sign up because I'm going with Melissa, and she already signed up, and I gave her my word.
That is too cool. So it's not the coach saying, hey, let's try this. You went ahead and said, we're going to do this. So
You know, I normally make up my calendar, and of course I run it through Kevin, but
Yeah.
no one he has said,
Yeah.
oh, you can't do that.
that's
no,
really good.
no. I'm like, this is my goal.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. And I always say to him, if you think it's too much, just let me know,
Right.
or we can balance better. And he never said no to me. He's like, oh my God, you're so
50 miles.
He said to me, you're crazy. I'm like, you are crazy because you put up with me
That's
and you
right.
make all this happen. So it takes a team. It takes a team. My family is super understandable of my desire and my love for
Good.
the sport.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I just can't be more blessed with my hobby, my kids. I mean, training days are when I'm racing, like half Ironmans, and I throw a one and a half Ironman this weekend. Let's do a sprint the weekend before, something in the middle of the next Ironman, and
We've been trying to put an interview together probably for like 6 months or
I know.
something, and it's just like it's hysterical because it might even been longer. But yeah, her calendar's packed. So she's a very busy person, family, husband, training, racing, and she doesn't race like nearby, like again, like this West Virginia thing that she'll finish up with. But like she goes all over the East Coast at least, and probably have you
everywhere.
gone? Well, you could tell us like internationally too if you have, but. The West Virginia thing, did you go ahead and do that?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes,
This is
that-
what year? 2016?
I believe it was 16. And when I found out that Scott Jurek was gonna be giving a speech the day before of the race, it made my whole day. I was
All right,
like,
so who's this? Because I'm unfamiliar. Sorry.
Scott Jurek
Okay, he's
is
like God
one
of
of the
endurance
best
running.
endurance runners
Cool.
there. I mean, there's a bunch like
Yeah.
Rich Roll and
Yeah.
Corny Walter, and I mean, there's many people. But when I started trail running, I look for the best trail runners out there, and they have books and audiobooks. Well, many audiobooks because I'm in the road so much, I drive so much that I
Click and
change.
play.
I
Yeah.
move from books to audiobooks.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, amazing. So it was like, wow, to meet Scott Jurek the day before. He signed up a shirt to me and he wrote Dig Deep Scott Jurek. So it was
That is cool.
in my head the day of the race. It was so surreal. And then I'm there like, I don't know, 14, 17 hours away from here. And guess what? My coach comes.
Nice.
He is the best coach I can ask for. It's like he has come to races. I mean, he have made me cry on races because I never expect him to be there.
Right.
Okay, it's no like, oh, you have to be there or it's part of our deal.
Right.
No,
That's amazing.
he just came. He's like, I wouldn't miss this for anything. It's your first long, 50 miler.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I remember that race was something else. I remember having my drop back a mile like 32, 31, and I decided not to take my raincoat because it looked so clear and nice that I'm like, I'm not gonna need it. Well, 2 miles later it started pouring.
Oh
And it
God.
was so cold. I had no gloves, no raincoat. Pretty much my hands were frozen to the point that I couldn't even. I look at my fingers and try to tell my fingers to put the zipper down of my vest to reach out for nutrition and stuff, and my fingers won't move.
And fibromyalgia, how did that impact? Did it make it worse? Was it?
At that point of
Or at
the
that point
race,
you were just so
at
cold,
that point
it
of the
didn't-
race, it was fine. I was, I have run so much that my body was kind of. I survived.
Right.
The goal that we had for that race, it wasn't accomplished, but I finished right at 10 hours. I remember some of this. I mean, you see the elevation chart, but then you don't know the terrain.
Yeah.
And it could be a nice paved road, but this was rocks. You pretty much have to crawl your way up.
Yeah. That's.
Crawl. And it was wet and it was slippery and it was and it
So
was
first of all,
cold.
just to finish a 50 miler is astonishing
I need
already.
to go back there.
And then so the terrain and the hills, that's just incredible. And so after the 50 miler, what was the next thing? Like, how do you top that? Or do you just go back and just you hit these other 50Ks and so forth? what's the next step for you? What are you planning on doing?
Well, I like challenges, and the thing for me was like, okay, I experienced what it was to run a 50 miler. Know what we planned time wise, but let's go back a little bit. Don't rush it. Don't go.
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends that jump from the 50 to the 100K and then to the 100 miler, and it's totally fine,
Yeah.
But as a competitive person, I compete against myself first.
Right.
And to me was more of, okay, let's cut up some times there. Let's
Yeah.
go back to 50Ks and improve times.
Yeah.
You know,
You find your niche, I think, at athletic events, and you want to, whether it's a half Ironman or a full Ironman, some people really just stick to a certain zone of distance, and it's more self-competitive than anything else. So you want to kind of improve.
as I said before, I like the distance. I like to feel. One of the things I always tell Kevin, I want to be relatively fast in a 5K. I want to be as fast as I can be.
I'd say you're pretty
I
fast.
want to be able to run a 5K fast. I want to be able to run a half marathon fast. So I like to stay fast
Yeah.
from Maria in every single event that I do. That's why in a year I plan, say, 4 half Ironmans, but I throw a lot of sprint,
Yeah.
Olympics in between, and I still like to do trail races and road races
Right.
and things like that, despite what people think or what people say to me. Oh, you gotta stick to the distance. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Because then all of a sudden, I think I see those endurance things as more slower pace.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to take up obviously a full day or even longer, whatever the event is. So you like the speed factor, right?
I do.
That's kind
I
of your
do.
thing.
I do like. It's just something about the speed, that
Yeah.
blood sensation in your throat.
Yeah.
It just makes you
Some good adrenaline rush. Absolutely.
makes you proud, And I don't make money out of this. It's just fun. It's
Right.
just life goals, fitness goals, however you want to call them. I think it's just whatever makes you happy. And
Yeah.
sometimes life comes on the way. Somebody gets sick, or
Right.
you can't do. Just be flexible. If a sprint is all you can do because time, or because just
Yeah.
do a sprint, or just run. With this COVID-19 is being quite challenging now, just for everybody.
Right. So training during COVID, isolation. So do you just get out and do it solo, or do you still communicate with some of your friends and say, do you guys set up little, like in the cycling community, sometimes they set up like a time trial for people to do. Do you guys do any kind of virtual competitions at all? Like there's that wonderful thing called Zwift that I use for cycling. They have it for running too, but that's really helped out for me. But what about runners? Like, did you just go run?
I am used to training by myself.
Okay.
And I think with this crisis that we're living in right now, that really helped me. A lot of people, I mean, it's hard to train by yourself, but it was what I had to do if I want to do what I wanted to do, because time. I drove my kids here and there, the school, the house, everything.
Right.
So I was training by myself 95% of the time.
Right.
So this has been, it's kind of normal for me.
Same
Okay.
thing, same
So
training.
Kevin, I told Kevin, let's just. My goal, I mean, since we're not racing, if there's something virtual races that we can do, let's do them. But my main goal is just keep me fit.
Yeah. And is anything on the calendar at all for you guys?
June and July to complete the courses.
Oh wow.
There are already segments in Strava and races, and the courses go from 3, 3.5, 3.9, 4.5, 7 miles, 10 miles. Half marathon is the longest one.
That's really good.
So you go, and they all have their own little. They're tricky. Thank you, Trent.
That's cool.
Pemberton has one course. Naylor Mill,
Yeah.
familiar with Naylor
Yeah.
Mill? That's the trickiest one. You get lost really, really easy there, but I love that little course. So you gotta really read the instructions, because some you run counterclockwise,
Right.
other ones you run
You get lost out
clockwise.
there.
I know. You gotta be able to make the segment. I
Because on
ran.
cycling, you could have your Garmin or whatever, your Wahoo, and that'll tell you when the turn's coming up. But when you're running,
Watches, I found this out about watches and trail running. The GPS is not that accurate
it
or
loses
that
the
good. It
signal
just
or
loses the
whatever.
signal.
Yeah.
And road is easier. I ran the Salisbury Airport Loop yesterday. It was at 7.3 miles, and yeah, you follow
Huh.
the route
Yeah.
pretty well with the watch. So that's what I'm doing right now. And they previously made this broken ladder challenge. It was quite interesting. I love the concept. It came up in a time that I was getting used to working at the farm, so I didn't have enough time, and we didn't want to go. I listened to Kevin.
Yeah.
My husband is like, I'm glad you listen to
Yeah.
someone, because you don't listen to me.
Oh Lord,
One person I listen to is my coach.
there's Kevin.
And so he's like, yeah, it sounds good, but let's don't go more than 2 weeks. 14 days, he said, is about what we should do so we avoid injury.
Yeah.
Kevin is a doctor and physical therapist, so it came to my life. He rescued me
Wow.
from where I was with the fibro and
Yeah.
injuries and all this stuff. So believe me, 4.5 years together, working together, so I do trust him. He knows my body so well.
Right,
It's
right.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
The things he knows about
Yeah.
myself. So he said to me, just let's do 14 days. So the broken ladder challenge was every day you add a mile. So day 1 you run 1 mile, day 2 you run 2, day 3
Yeah.
you run 3, and so on and so
Wow.
on. So day 13 you run
You're
13,
stacking
and
it
day
on,
14
yeah.
you run 14. Okay, it was fun. A lot of people participated. The guy that won it, Richard, which I admire, and just he's crazy. He went up to day 34.
So you could go. You could go.
Oh yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. Whenever you stop, your ladder
So that's
breaks.
the broken. Oh
breaks.
my God.
Your ladder breaks. So that's
just-
the end.
That's amazing. 34. He went to 34.
Day 34. He finished day 34.
That's mega miles. So that's
Mega
it. It
miles.
doesn't matter where you do it.
No,
It
it
just
didn't matter.
can be flat as can be.
It
You get
didn't
the
matter.
course,
You can
but-
walk it. Kevin mixed some power walking and running
Yeah.
for me. So it was interesting. It's always fun. These guys
Yeah.
always put something, I mean, every single race that I have participated, the trend had put together is always interesting. The Algonquin 50K is quite a race. I mean, that concept that just blew my mind. I missed it the first year.
Okay.
I was injured the first year. I was coming from 17 stress fractures on my right foot.
17.
17. My podiatrist. I'm telling you, it definitely was overtraining.
Wow, yeah.
I was overtraining, and I wasn't.
And you just blocked it out. Like you just kept going.
The thing is, when you are used to certain amount of pain,
Yeah.
then you just go like, it's just pain from exercise. It's just pain from exercise. I remember that year racing Nanico Tri, and actually I go back and see that picture, the way my foot landed.
Oh man.
It was in so much pain that I landed almost like at the
At
edge.
an angle or whatever.
Just so weird. You go like,
Yeah.
how can someone run like that? I'm like, where I have pain that day? And I ran like that, and I did like 2 more races until the pain was so awful. I couldn't get out of my bed. So I went to see my doctor, and he x-rayed me, and he said, Maria, what have you done to yourself? And I'm like, what did you see? He's like, I can't even count how many fractures you have in this foot.
This is like she almost sounds like, and I'm not going to compare, but I will. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with David Goggins.
Oh, I love Goggins.
She is like, Goggins did the 100-miler before he even ran a marathon, I think. And of course, he had all these stress fractures and so forth. So when you bring that up, like that's why I wanted to share the story. It's just because she pushes limits, physical, mental,
I don't
spiritual.
ever mean to harm myself, but
Yeah.
you don't realize. I didn't realize I have 17 stress fractures on my foot. I
Right.
mean, it's just something that's.
You just push through.
I just pushed through the pain, and the pain was painful, but it was like, yeah, I probably don't want to run right now, but I never thought I had something broken. So it was. So I was in a boot, and I promised myself I will never let go of pain that bad
Right.
ever
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
because it set me back so many months.
Right.
And I was in a boot for a few months, and of course he said three months, and I'm like, 3 months? No, this is not happening to me. He's like, 3 months. And I'm like,
Wow.
no, this is
Yeah.
fun. This is not fun. So I walk with the boot, Tayaskin, everywhere in Tayaskin. I was walking with the boot, okay? And I started feeling a little better, so I took the boot off, and of course, bad decision, set me back another
Wow.
6 weeks
Wow.
because of that. And that's when I was like, I couldn't do anything other
Yeah.
than walking at that point. So I was really in the fibromyalgia was like at its finest. It was so bad that I'm like, okay, what is it gonna be for me? I'm gonna have this pain forever. And the pain was so bad, I felt like I was in a black hole. That's how I describe it. I was
Wow.
like in a black hole, and I was between pain. Then it started getting in my head. Like I just started feeling like depressed, maybe, or antsy. And that's when I met Kevin. Kevin, he used to ride with us. I don't know if you remember that. He rode with us here and there. We just never really,
Yeah.
you
Talk to
say everybody,
Right.
hi to everybody, but that's it. And I remember cycling with that pain. It wasn't completely healed up, and he was cycling next to me, and then we started talking about the pain, and he's like, "Oh, really? I might be able to help you." He said,
Wow.
"Let's talk." And I didn't have a coach at that moment. My former coach, we have terminated our relationship together. We're still friends, but
Yeah.
I was like, it's not a point to have a coach right now if I just can't do anything.
Yeah, right.
So, and talked to Kevin, and he gave me great ideas, which something I never did, and I never knew. Nobody ever taught me or never looked into. Is strengthening and your feet.
Yeah.
Feet is strengthening. It's like,
I'm not the runner. I did some like Ironmans and stuff, but I stopped running for probably 5 years almost, and just did cycling. And then I last year did a 1.5 miles, and I noticed right away, like your ankles, your feet, your shins, everything gets soft. And I think people need that impact. And so, yeah, like running is beneficial, but everything, you need to cross train, you need to do these other exercises, whether it's weights, but we need that extra, whether it's weight bearing or just your own body weight, to do it, right?
Definitely. All my training is pretty much body weight.
Yeah.
Before Kevin, I used to do 25s or 30s,
Yeah.
curls and stuff like that, and which is not bad. It just
Right.
serves the purpose for what you're doing. And learning about toe yoga.
Wow.
Toe yoga.
I haven't heard of that.
What?
Toe yoga. But I guess it just all strengthens.
Those little teeny muscles and tendons that you
Wow.
have in your feet,
Yeah.
you need to strengthen them and to be flexible in order to be able to, avoid as much as you
Yes.
can injuries. Injuries are gonna come,
I'm a
they
believer
come.
in yoga, and I'm doing the downward dog, and you can try to get your heel to the floor, and I haven't done that yet. But yeah, all the stretched muscles perform better. Right?
Yes. And you develop pretty tight, stiff ankles from running.
Yeah.
And when I started swimming, that was a completely another idea, because I was never a swimmer. So Is amazing. Yes, it's strengthening your body. I mean, for life,
Yeah.
for sports, for anything you do. I think it's just feeling strong from the inside out. I think it's just a great feeling. You know.
We could, yeah, I, I think we're stepping into definitely the mind, the body, and the soul
Yeah.
needs to be worked, exercised every day, right? So it all works together. So when you're out there pushing your limits physically, you are mentally getting a workout, and you're also pushing your soul. Like your spirit is not like you don't leave your spirit on the start line. It's you're going, you're pulling it along with you. So I mean,
Yes.
it all works together,
Yeah.
and I don't think there's any other better drug out there other than working out.
Oh.
Like if everybody could
No.
just, yeah, drop the medicines, drop all this other external stuff, and get out there and run, bike, whatever it is, walk, yoga. I just started doing Qigong. I want to learn that. Like, I want to find a coach, hopefully, somewhere around here. But
Awesome.
like
That's awesome.
the Tai Chi and all those things, like it's just, we need to move our bodies. It
Yeah.
gets all of those toxins out.
Look at you. You
And-
keep yourself in great shape, and
Thank
it's
you.
it's an everyday
Yeah.
commitment.
Right.
You can't say, okay, I'm gonna just take care of myself on Wednesdays
Yes.
and expect your body to function well and feel well.
And
'Cause-
especially over this COVID thing where
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lot of isolation, you need to, I was even telling my students, like, go for a walk, talk to your parents, but,
So important.
try to get a walk in, go for a run or something. And, yeah, kids need that example. So, you're a phenomenal human being, phenomenal soul. Thank you for telling your story. And,
you.
we could bring you back and see what happens next after this COVID thing. And thank you very much
Thank
for
you
joining
so
us
much
today.
for having me. It's just such a pleasure, and to know you and know the cycling community. I just blessed to have a lot of people that I look up to, and you are one of them.
Thank you.
Not because we're here, because I mean, how many times I got dropped and you went and
No.
put me back to the
Maria.
line. I mean, there's so many people that I know inspire me. I have respect for and admire because of that. I mean, a guy as fast as you are, and other guys, Dean Sullivan, Dean Pearson, and
Right.
other guys that I mean, I look up to all of you when I joined OVC, and it was like so cool. And well, you get dropped. It's one of the things I always said: do not come back for me. Just keep going. I'll find a way to get there. And just this guy many times, right? They're just trying to get me back in the baseline. So
You're again.
so cool.
Thank you. It's a pleasure knowing you and pulling you back to the group. But that's just, we're all in this together. Is really what it boils down to. We are athletes. We want to train, and we're not here to like leave each other on the road. You know what I
Correct.
mean? So I think whether it's in our families, whether it's working out, whatever it is, we got to help each other out. So,
Definitely.
Maria,
Encourage
thank
people.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much. All right.
Thank you.